Hello everyone, welcome to a video on the Constrictorism YouTube channel. This is Wednesday Night Warrior. I'm Spencer, and this week we are doing another part in our How to Improve It Magic series. This is going to be, I think, 6. Yeah, this is part 6 of our 10-part series. This week we're going to talk about something different. It's in the same vein, because we're getting better at magic, but we're going to talk about getting better through focusing on what matters. And through a few different things, and we're going to talk about, we're just going to go from top to bottom here, and kind of talking about what focusing on what matters can mean to you individually, or mean to you and your play group. So, one thing that players who start to get good at magic start to do is they start looking for ways to outdo their opponents, trick them, those Jedi mind tricks that you hear about. People try and find them and execute them on every match that they play. And what I call this is being cute. And I would encourage everyone to stop trying to be cute if you want to improve at magic. The reason for this is because of mental energy that you're spending trying to execute these Jedi mind tricks or these little advantages that really don't amount to very much in the end. You try and execute these things that you're spending all of this time and energy in trying to get them to happen, and when you do that, you lose out on just like playing good magic. And one of the things that I would encourage you to do instead is the idea that people get is every percentage point that I can get is worth something. And that's actually true. The problem is that when you spend a ton of time and mental energy on trying to trick your opponent, you're losing out. You actually are losing on a lot of other percentage points that you gain just from playing good magic. And what's important is just to probably play that good magic, and then if it comes up that you can do something like that, then you do it. It was funny. I was playing in a Wednesday night event, and something happened where I talked to my opponent about sideboarding while we were sideboarding, and he was like, we can talk about it later. I don't even remember what happened, but it was funny because I was like, yeah, I don't know that I'm going to try and squeak out some percentage points at a Wednesday night event. I'd rather just play good magic and get rewarded for it. And it dawned on me that, there are so many people that think that that's how the pros win, is from these little tiny things that add up. And it is little tiny things, but it's not those little tiny things. Shahar Shenhar's not a 2-time world champion because he's good at tricking his opponents. In fact, I've played against Shahar Shenhar. We played at GP Albuquerque. We played the Esper Control Mirror. And at one point during our match, Shahar was doing math in his head during my turn. And it took me a while to figure out that he was actually counting the number of cards he had left on top of his deck from when he activated his Jace Architect of Thought to know where his Aetherling was at what point in his deck, to know how to use his cards in Planeswalkers. So that's mental energy that helped him, and that I would have never been able to achieve that. That's how those players get good. That's how those players are executing on a level that you and I might not be. And he's not trying to trick me. He's just doing something that's available to him. It's not reliant on anything else happening, and it's certainly not taking anything out of his game. He actually needs to know where that Aetherling is that he decided to bottom, and take the other cards pretty early on in the game. He needs to know that so he can know how many if he needs to activate his Jace to bottom more cards, how many cards he needs to, so that he can win with that Aetherling when he does draw it, which is actually what happened. And that's completely different than trying to be cute about something. That's just good magic. And I think that if you focus on good magic, you're going to be rewarded much more often than just trying to win through trickery or sudden, just stupid means that really, at the end of the day, don't amount to much. Don't get me wrong. When the time comes up where you get the chance and it's your out to win the game, you should do it. But it shouldn't be the main focus of you trying to improve at Magic, because just playing solid Magic and good games is going to result in more wins overall at the end of the day. And that's really what's important. And that's the next thing that I want to talk about here is wins and losses. So a lot of players will win matches of Magic and think that that's the end, that they've achieved everything that they need to achieve in Magic once they've gotten, top 8 of a PPTQ or top 8 of an RPTQ or whatever it is that they did. They think that that's that's it. Like they're good at Magic now. Now they're good enough to get to the Pro Tour. Now they're good enough to play on the Pro Tour. And whatever your goals are, that's great. Like, but your goals should really be what you're focusing on, and not as much just wins and losses. Um, a good point in that somebody who's made this point a lot of times is Casey Bloodworth on our podcast. He talked about how there was a time in Magic where he was playing in PPTQs and he would top 8-1 and top 8-1 and top 8-1, and he was getting his entry feedback in all of these PPTQs. So he thought, I'm doing a great job. And then the end of the season came and he hadn't won one yet. The end of the next season came, he hadn't won one yet. He took a season off. The end of the next season came and he hadn't won one yet. And he thought to himself, I don't know why I'm not winning. And the truth is because he was happy getting to that top 8, or he was happy with the number of wins he was getting at the event, which at the end of the day, while wins and losses are a great benchmark, they're not really what matters. I mean, you should want to win every match you play, not have X record going into an event. It's kind of counterintuitive, but if you just play every match as though you're going to win that match, eventually the wins will just come. It's kind of the Patriot method in football, where they don't really worry about anything other than just winning that next game. And it's super cliche, but it actually works. If you just focus on what matters and that next game, then you're spending less mental energy worrying about your overall record at the end of the day. It's kind of like people who go into a PTQ and they say, I need this record for top 8. It's like, well, technically you just need to win this number of matches to win the event. So your record getting into top 8 doesn't really matter. If you just win the matches in front of you, then top 8 itself will happen. And then you'll still have 3 more matches to win in order to win the event. And this is something that happens a lot, where your results might speak differently than something of like the reality of the situation. The number of times that you can think of a player who might not be as good as you winning matches against you, it happens all the time. Does that mean that player is better than you? I mean, if sometimes it can, but it doesn't always mean that. Like I've beaten pros on Moto, and I beat Craig Wesco the other day on Moto. Am I better than Craig Wesco? No, because that's not really the situation that's going on, and that's not really what you need to be focusing on. I need to focus on playing well versus Craig Wesco so that I can win the match, right? The same thing could be said about Shahar. Shahar played better than me, and he won the match accordingly. It's not about the things that people focus on. They take things and they make them into something that they're not, rather than just focusing on winning the game in front of them. Because at the end of the day, like I said before, it really does all count. Being cute, it does count for something. The question is how much of that mental energy that you're using on being cute is taken away when you're trying to do those Jedi mind tricks, when you're trying to do something like that. And I think the answer is too much to make it worth it. When at the end of the day, if you just focus on the good things, on being good at your mechanics and things like that, you'll be rewarded and actually win more games overall. A good example of this is when you think about like switching between games. I don't think that you would ever go into a new game and try and be cute to try and win it, right? I think, in fact, I would say that in most sports, commentators and players would say, stop trying to be cute and just like throw the ball the correct way, or do you have the correct mechanics, because at the end of the day, that's worth more than everything that you're trying to achieve from this one thing. And I think that it's true, and it's something that we need to always remember. And remember that whatever happened today, tomorrow's a new day, and the results from one given event don't dictate where you're at tomorrow, because you still have another game to play, and everything culminates into one big running total, right? Your win percentage is really one long total, not your win percentage in this event or this event. It's all one big long string of games that you have to win. So it's up to you to realize, I'm going to win the next one, and then after that, I can worry about the one after that. So focusing on what matters is really important if you're going to improve at Magic, and I encourage you to make sure that you're doing that and looking at your plays and doing the things that are in your control and that you can improve at Magic from and move forward that way. Let me know if you have any other thoughts about this, and leave them in the comments. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our sponsor at Oasis Games. You can also go to a Patreon page, patreon.com/ccmtg. Don't forget to check out the podcasts every week at Limited Time Only and Constructive Criticism here on YouTube, as well as on constructivecriticism.com. And we'll see you guys all next time.